My name's Deb Holman. Here at the CHUM, I do some of the street outreach, work with outside population, people that may be in and out of shelter but are mostly living outside. Giving them sleeping bags, maybe access to services where they can get warm clothes, offering incentives like bus passes, assistance with getting connected with any kind of services in the community, and then working on getting somebody housed, which can take a long time.
CHUM's mission statement has three parts: providing basic needs, fostering stable lives, and organizing for a just and compassionate community. And street outreach does the first two really well. The idea of providing basic needs in terms of helping people survive who are living on the streets, and stabilizing lives to help them, meeting them wherever they are, to help them either come into shelter, find housing, return to their families, whatever it is. So it supports the mission that way. People who are living outside or in places that are not fit for human habitation, things like cars, culverts, camping. Ultimately, the program affects the entire community as people notice that there are people living outside, sitting on sidewalks when they walk on the lake walk or they drive in their cars, to know that there is a safety net that is available. It's not 100%, but we know that we'll be a better community when we don't have people living outside in our town. And so the goal of street outreach is to be in touch with everybody, to build a relationship, to meet them where they are, provide what we can. They have to work with them on that, and hopefully get into a healthier and better situation for them. There are teams at Lifehouse that focus on youth, there are teams at CHUM, there are teams at HDC, there are teams at ACO. But for CHUM, our Main Street outreach is Deb Holman, working in conjunction with the police department and many other community partners. Many people in our congregations are part of the team because we have the street outreach hotline number, so people are learning to call that hotline if they see that someone might be in trouble, may need assistance from CHUM. Our goal is that we want everybody to be part of the street outreach team.
I think first of all, it's about the relationship, so just kind of getting out there, getting to know people. And the relationships with folks can also take a really long time. Sometimes it takes years, so it's all about meeting people where they're at day by day. There's a guy that I had worked with it would be 3 years this coming January. At the time, him and his girlfriend were living in their car doing heroin. Fast forward like 2.5 years later, he's been successfully employed for 1.5 years. He's off heroin for over a year. He's got a family now. He had a baby just maybe a month ago. And I mean, he just totally turned his life around.
The whole first time that I had actually reached out and got in touch with the outreach program, I had gotten a gas card because I was living out of my car. And I met with Deb Holman, and 3 months later, I was able to get an apartment with Section 8.
Thanks to Deb.
And thanks to Deb.
It meant so much to us, because we had to keep the car running. It was 30 below, and some nights with wind chill, we had to keep the car running. So that was like life or death for us.
Yeah, with the resources out there, it was a lot easier to get back on our feet.
Yeah.
Being sober was a big part of it.
We owe a lot of our success to her and the homeless outreach program and everything. So
yeah, having someone helping with backup and support and just helping us be comfortable with the process, I wouldn't have been able to get through it. I don't think we'd be where we were without the outreach program.
One is to support housing development at not just the very low income, but at all levels, because I'm of the mind that because we have this housing shortage across the income level, that building at any level will help. So support affordable housing, support the bonding bills, encourage the state legislators to fund that. The last bonding bill was something like $90 million for affordable housing. I could spend that tomorrow in Duluth. I look at San Marco as a really excellent example of housing for people who are relatively hard to house, we could use 10 more equivalent of San Marco or 10 equivalent of Steve O'Neill. And that has a finite price tag. That's about $150 million. And that sounds like a lot of money, but when you think about that $150 million as an investment in jobs, in stability, in providing, it will certainly be somewhat offset the cost to medical systems, mental health systems, corrections. It could be the smartest investment that we make. So what we need to do in Duluth, as part of my prescription on top of that $150 million investment in housing, is to go back to St. Augustine, who said, hope has two lovely daughters. Their names are anger and courage. Anger at the way things are, and courage so that they do not remain that way. And so the prescription for Duluth is to live in hope, but exercise our anger and courage to bring about the social justice that we know is demanded of our time.